perfect opportunity to come up. Well, in my experience, I've learned that will not happen. Because I've learned that by trying to control life and tell it how it should be only causes resistance within me. You're listening to Joey's Taxi, conversations from the seat of awareness. No fixin', no forcing, just shared presence. Let's ride. Hello, and welcome back to the show. Today we are going to talk about a reflection of mine with our previous episode guest, Sarah, with the Sarah Concept. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it, I would say listen to that episode before this one. Otherwise, it won't make too much sense with me providing my reflections. Let's jump into her episode here. I have some notes I'm going to refer back to. Sarah used to live in mainland Europe, and I asked her why she moved to Tenerife. She said she moved here to come back to basics. When I initially moved to Tenerife, that was back in 2021. It was meant to be a holiday, but it ended up being much longer than that. Little did I know that I need to go back to my own basics and then explore a healing journey with myself to become a healthier person, not only to myself, but to the people I love, including my partner Anna, my family, and my friends. Sarah talks about her self-initiated invitation to stillness. She asked the universe when she came here. She was on the beach, and she said, please tell me what to do, how to do it. And she got a vision. That vision was the Sarah Concept. Now, the Sarah Concept is a safe space that she creates for people within a workshop dynamic. And she shares her art. She allows others to create art with her as well, to meet new people. And she does this on Tenerife in the south. I've been to one with my partner. We did a little art class together to re-tap into that inner artist. It was a lot of fun. So I recommend if you're ever on Tenerife, reach out to Sarah and sign up for one of her creative workshops. Now, the vision for the Sarah Concept was to, and this is in her words, to bring people together. This is what the world needs. How amazing is this? That she asked the universe, what is it that I can do? And it said back in return, well, how about you serve others, support others the best way you know how through your art? Now I asked, why is it important to create safe spaces within your creative workshop, Sarah? She responded, well, it's the importance of community. The pandemic caused separation and how people felt lonely and didn't know how to meet people in a safe space. There's a lot of separation. If I remember back to my experience during COVID, I was in Southern California working for an Apple store. Everything was shut down. I actually had a friend staying with me who was going through a very, how can we say, psychological difficulties in her life. She was there, so I was experiencing not only my own separation from everyone else, but also her separation from herself. I would say my time during COVID, I used it to tap back into my creativity. I learned how to do some compositing work with my photography. Essentially, I learned to be more creative with my photography. I love the idea of bringing people together. And this is when she did this. Actually, soon after COVID, she moved to Tenerife. She shared a piece of artwork with us. And if you haven't seen it yet, go back to the previous episode. There will be a link there to look at it. She calls it Suspended World. She goes on to say that the time of the universe is perfect, and I can do my part, but I can't do more. Sarah explained how she thought the artwork was not ready and needed something else. So it sat in a corner of her home for many months, until one day she looked at it and said, it's ready and perfect. Time to share with the world. How often do we do this? Do we work on a project, or we want to apply for that new job, or we want to relocate, we want to ask someone out, and we just don't feel like the time is ready? So we postpone it, we prolong it, waiting for that perfect opportunity to come up. Well, in my experience, I've learned that will not happen. Because I've learned that by trying to control life and tell it how it should be only causes resistance within me. It causes a lot of turmoil, stress, anxiety, burnout. These are all signs of resisting something in the outside world that is going to happen regardless of our existence. Life happened before we arrived here. It will continue happening long after we're gone. So we might as well go along for the ride and do things as close to the moment as possible. Sarah says, what I can't control is still acting, is still working. For me, I interpret this as life. Can't control it, but it will continue happening. The invisible is still here with me, a perfect reminder that God's time is perfect, and I have to accept, understand, do my part, and let go of the other. For me, letting go of the other is letting go of self, letting go of these mental constructs that we've created for ourselves, letting go of ego, of who we think we are. Sarah says, a reminder that the universe has its own time and it doesn't always align with mine. It's okay. Be patient, consistent. This reminds me of the surrender experiment that I've mentioned in my origin story, our first episode. And I surrendered to the universe. I surrendered to what is. I was trying to say I need to have life be a certain way. I need to have a log cabin in the woods in the middle of nowhere with peace and quiet and birds singing instead of living in a touristy city here in Tenerife. It's called Los Cristianos, where I'm just surrounded by tourists. We live in a tourist building. There's a bar, restaurant, 2 stories down. Starts playing music at about 10:45 at night until about 12 or 12:30 in the morning. And I hear it and feel it. Earplugs does one thing, but when you feel something, that's another story. And I used to really fight against this. As a matter of fact, I had a disagreement with, it's a husband and wife that owns the bar. I went down there. It was about a year and a half ago. It was December of 2023. I had just started hypnotherapy program. Didn't really understand everything going on inside of me or how to react to things. The music was playing past midnight. I went down there to speak to the husband of the bar, the owner, and he wasn't so pleasing to me. Basically, it was not of relevance to him. It wasn't important for him to turn down the music. I simply asked to turn it down. He raised his voice. I started raising my voice, and it was just like an unhealthy verbal battle. His wife, the other owner, stepped in, took me to the side. And I've met her before. She was very pleasant with me, helped me to calm down. After that, I still had all this anger inside of me, because I learned in hypnotherapy that when I have anger, to let it out. In the form of hypnotherapy in my sessions, I let it out through screaming into a pillow during my sessions with my therapist, Donna. She's in Australia, who did everything online. I would scream into a pillow, or I would jump on the bed, start punching the bed, punching pillows. That was my way of releasing anger. And I couldn't do this, so I didn't feel comfortable start punching the owner of the bar. So after I left the bar, I went upstairs, and Anna was in bed, and I told her I need to go to the beach to scream. I need to put my face into the sand and just scream into the sand, because no one's going to hear me. It's too late to scream in the apartment. As supportive as she is, she came with me to the beach. It was cold that night, so she had this winter jacket on. And I took a blanket and I put it on the sand. And then because I didn't want to obviously inhale sand in my lungs, because that would have been another problem. I took the beach towel, put it down, and then I just screamed as loud as I could into the beach towel, into the sand, until I exhausted myself, which is what I did in my hypnotherapy sessions. Just get all this energy out and exhaust. And I did that. It reminds me that I can't control what happens in my outside world. It's just to find a way to be more in balance with myself and learn, why do I react this way? Because what's happening in that bar, what's happening with that music, has nothing to do with the emotions that I'm feeling. Has nothing to do with them. They're this surface triggers, but deep down inside, it's coming from a deeper place. I was growing up with 2 parents who battled alcohol, And the environment was always loud. My dad was always playing loud salsa music. My family's from Puerto Rico, so it was always this Spanish salsa music, super loud. They were drinking, yelling, and I just was always around that, and it wasn't pleasant to be around it. It wasn't like there was music and there was loving. I don't even remember ever seeing my parents hug each other or kiss each other. I just remember the arguments. If I go deeper down inside, it's that not having that control when I was a child. As an adult, not having control of the outside world, of the music coming from the bar. Well, I've learned that I will never have that control. But what I can tap into is, why do I need to have control? Why do I perceive that control is a good thing? It led me to my surrender experiment. I am still in it, actually, since the end of March of this year. It's 2025, and we're in the end of June now. I asked Sarah, and I asked all my guests, what is it that they do to bring themselves back to awareness, back to a state of presence? Sarah said that she puts awareness into everything she does. To be alone in silence, painting, surfing, swimming, being one with the ocean. She describes that waves are symbolic for being aware and going with the flow, like life itself. And I also asked her, what's the difference between being alone and being lonely? Because I can find myself, at least from past experiences, when I was home alone, it was very uncomfortable. I didn't like being with me because of the thoughts that would just come up, and the uncomfortability and the anxiousness. I can understand why I drank so much, and I was doing drugs and being attached to toxic love. It was just to numb myself from actually feeling what was going on within me. This reminds me of being alone and being lonely. Now to this day, I can be alone and be very comfortable with it, be in silence. I used to always have something on as well, music or the TV. Always had a distraction. Couldn't stay still, because by staying still, I would be with me, and I was uncomfortable being with me. So I need to do something to distract. Now I can be by myself, home alone. Actually, I prefer no TV, no music. I'm very intentional now. I'm mindful. When I do put music, I'm experiencing music. I don't listen to music anymore. I experience music. I listen to the lows, the mids, the highs, the instruments, if there's any vocals. I pay attention to every single moment of that song. It makes it so much more powerful. Even when I drive now, I don't have the radio on anymore. I think a little sign of this, the universe, I used to always play audibles in the car, but I'm not really focusing on the audible. I'm kind of splitting my attention between driving and making sure that I'm driving safe and also listening to an audible. My attention is split. It's keeping my mind busy as well. Why not enjoy the ride? Enjoy the breeze, open the windows, or pay attention to the trees outside, the cars in front of me, the details, the sounds of the motors. Like, there's so much to be immersed in when you're driving, other than the music. Now, not to say I never put music on, but when I do, again, it's also very intentional. This movie reminds me of being alone and being lonely. The movie Heat. It was back in 1995 with Robert De Niro. One of the actresses, her name is, she's the leading actress, Amy Brenneman. Character Edie asked Robert De Niro's character, Neil McCauley, do you travel a lot? He goes, yeah, I travel a lot. And she says, well, are you lonely from all the traveling? And he goes, well, I'm alone. I'm not lonely. So you see, there's a difference between feeling alone and feeling lonely. I can be alone and love it, but I'm not lonely. I don't feel like I need someone to be with to feel whole, to feel complete. I love having a partner and sharing life experiences, but I do not need her. I want her in my life. There's a distinguishing there. Sarah says that day by day she looks at her needs, gets to know herself. If I feel lonely, find a passion and ask the universe. That's a key phrase that she said. Day by day, look at my needs. I'd like to go a little bit deeper with this. Day by day, moment by moment. Between tasking, between doing things in your life, between Maybe switching from getting up from the bed in the morning to going to brush your teeth. What I like to do is I like to put my feet on the floor first. As soon as I get out of bed, I'm still sitting in bed with my feet on the floor, and I just say, thank you. Thank you to life. Thank you for allowing me to experience another day on this planet. Thank you for allowing me to feel the floor. There's a little area rug we have where I put my feet on. Thank you for allowing me to feel this rug sensation on the bottom of my feet. Then I get up and go to the bathroom and brush my teeth. And then maybe after I brush my teeth, I will ask myself again, how am I? How's everything right now? Do a little check-in with myself. Tuning into yourself. And how do I show up for myself and others? This is another profound piece of the conversation we had, is to really connect with ourselves. Like I mentioned about these pauses throughout our moments in our day. And how do I show up for myself and for others? A lot of times we're taking care of others people's needs, especially in family situations. From the conversations I've had with families and the mothers, there's always, putting the family first, taking care of their needs and continuing to do this, but also a lot of times they're neglecting their passions. Maybe it might be with art, writing, or there's some creative element in their life that they're not paying attention to. It's about asking, how can I bring that into my life? How can I create a balance? It's all about balance. This is my reflection here with the Sarah and the Sarah's concept. If you would like to connect with Sarah, her contact information will be in the show notes. Yeah, I would like to leave off with us taking a mindful breath together in a safe place, if you can. Eyes open or eyes closed, depending on your circumstance and your environment. Let's go ahead and just take that breath in with the inhale. And then exhale. Until next time, enjoy the ride. Thanks for riding along. If you'd like to stay connected, follow the podcast and leave a mindful review. Until next time, stay in the seat.